we're going to start math. We're going to start math by looking over our homework, and then we'll do our notebook pages, and then I'll show you your homework. All right, so let's find page 105 and 106 in our book, and let's look over 1 through 10, 12, 13, 15, and 16. All right, so number 1, you should have rounded to 300 and gotten a product of 1,200, an estimated product. Number 2, you should have rounded to 5,000 and got an estimated product of 45,000. Number 3 wanted you to round it to 90, and then you should have got an estimated product of 720. Number 4 should be an estimated product of 800. Number 5, an estimated product of 6,000. Number 6, an estimated product of 16,000. Number 7 wanted you to round to 600, and then you should find an estimated product of 4,800. And their answer of 4,624 is really close, so this is reasonable. Number 8, though, you should have found an estimated product of 24,000, and that is not close to 2,469, so something happened in their math that was off, so this is not reasonable. And then number 9, you should have found an estimated product of 2,100, and that is really close to their actual answer, so that is reasonable. All right, that was 1 through 9. On the back, let's look at number 10. It wanted you to say that expanded form is when we write the sum of the value of the digits. It's when it's expanded form. Number 12 wanted you to use part B's number, that 182, and then for 3 months, because this is how many in 1 month. So 182, we want to estimate. So we should have done like 200 times 3 to get 600, and then I'll label it parts. You might have said something like part B is, something like that. Make sure you have that labeled though, because this is a word problem, so we need a word in our answer. And 13 was kind of the same idea. You were using the parts per month, 234, and then each of those parts cost $4. So we'll find out how much money they are earning or making. We know that we need an estimate because it says about. That tells us to estimate. So we'd estimate 234 to 200, times it by 4, and that would get us 800. And because we're talking money, we need that dollar sign, $800. Number 15 was kind of tricky because she's making 4 round trips. So round trip is there and back round. You're going like almost in a circle. It's from Billy's house, so Billy's over here, to his aunt's. It's 485, or we can round that to 500. That's only to his aunt's. It says he makes 4 round trips. So how much is it to get back to his house? It's about 500. And if we add those together, we get 1,000. But that's only one trip. He does this 4 times. 1,000 times 4 is 4,000. That's why it's 4,000. And 16 should have been about 400 times 4th graders, each 4th grader, all the 4th graders read. Each of the 4 4th grades, so we gotta multiply this by 4, because there's 4 classes. That would get us 1,600 pages. All right, so that was our homework. Now we're gonna take a look at our notebook page for today. Let's go ahead and get your page ready. I got a little crumpled, but that's okay. All right, so today we're talking about arrays and partial products. Now, you talked about arrays in 3rd grade. Arrays are used to show multiplication sometimes. You might have seen it like this, where you have your rows and your columns. I like to think of arrays kind of like a cookie sheet. It's like you're putting cookies on it. How many cookies can I fit on my sheet? I need an array to help me figure that out. And we're going to use partial products to help us today. Partial means part. So part of our products. Products are the answers to multiplication problems. So we're going to find part of those products today. So when we have partial products, that's the products that we find or that are found by breaking one of our factors, one of our numbers we are multiplying, into expanded form. And then we multiply each number by the expanded forms spot by the other factor. Now, we'll get to that way in a bit. First, we're going to talk about arrays. Sometimes it's helpful to draw out pictures. There's 3 steps you do to use the arrays to help you. The first one is show your larger factor in picture form using squares, or I always like those little circles, rods, flats, or cubes. I do a square, come out of the corners, and then connect them all to make a cube. And then I repeat my picture according to the number of my other factor. Then I count the picture from largest to smallest. So let's do a practice one with 218. We're going to work over here in this open spot. We're not going to write anything under it, even when we find our answer, because we're going to use that in a bit. So we're going to work over here. And first thing I need to do is show my larger factor in picture form. So 218 or 3, 218 is my larger one. So I start by my hundred spot. Now of these, this is like my ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. So I'd start with my flats. Because I have 2 hundreds, I need 2 of those. And I don't want to make my picture super big, because I remember I'm going to have to show it multiple times. So I have 2 hundreds, I have 1 10, and I have 8 ones. Now step number 2 was to repeat according to the number of my other factor. My other factor says 3 times. So I need this picture 3 times. I'm making like an array with this picture. And notice I'm leaving a good gap between so I don't get my pictures mixed up. The tricky part with this is to make sure that you are showing the correct number each time. Making sure I have everything there. 210 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 18. And I'll show it one more time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 218 shown 3 times. Now, what I can do is count from largest to smallest. I want to go from largest to smallest in case I need to regroup any of my ones or my tens. So we always count. We don't write our number until we're very done. So let's go 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. And I'm keeping that number in my head. So 610, 620, 630. Then I keep counting on. So I'm at 630, and I know that this group is 8. So 638. Now I want to count on because I'm going to regroup into my tens. So 638, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. So we found our product of 654 by showing an array. Hooray for arrays. Okay. This way works really well when we're doing numbers in the hundreds. Okay. If we start to get into thousands, then it gets really tricky. And it also works best when our other factor is a smaller number. So now we're going to go through and learn another way. You might like this way, but I want to teach you another way, just in case. So We can also use partial products to help us figure this out. To do this, we determine the place value for each digit in your larger factor. And we're going to write them as number sentences then with our other factor. We're going to find our partial products, and we're going to add them to find our final product. Now to do this, we're going to work underneath our problem here. Okay, so I have 218. The first thing I need to do is figure out the place value for each. I'm going to use that expanded form, but instead of writing it like 200 plus 10 plus 8, what I want to do is stack my expanded form up and down. So I'm going to put over here to the side 200. I'm going to line up by place value too. I got my 10s and 1s lined up for 10. And then I'm going to put my 8 underneath the 1 spot. Step number 1, check. Now I need to write number sentences. I need to finish these. I know that I'm working with multiplication, so I'm going to multiply each of these by my other factor of 3, because that's what I'm working with this time. Step number 2, done. Now I'm working to find my partial products, or part of my big product. Because when we're multiplying like this, we know those tricks we've been working on to multiplying by multiples of 10, 100, or 1,000. We can use that mini math fact to multiply fast. So 3 times 2 is 6, and I add 2 zeros to do 600. Now I can do 3 times 10 for 30. And I want to be very careful to line up my numbers nice and neat so that when I add them, I can do it well, and I don't need to stop and think if they're in the right spot. I need to make sure I'm going slow and writing them neat. Then I do 8 times 3, which we know is 24. Step number 3 is done. We found our partial products. Now we add to find our final product. So I'm going to add all these up. And I always start at my 1s. That's 4. Adding my 10s, that's 5. And adding my 100s, 6. And I got the same product. That means we did it absolutely right. So we learned 2 ways. We learned how to do the array way, and we learned how to do the partial products way. So what I want you to do is on the other side, you're going to practice number 1, 2, 3, and 4. For number 1, I want you to show me the array way for this one. For number 2, I want you to do the partial products way. For 3 and 4, you get a choice, whichever one of you think you like best. And if you don't know, split them up again. Okay? Split them up and try one more partial product and one more array. I would do this one as a partial product, though. That's just me. All right? So you go ahead and pause the video while you work on that, and unpause the video when you're ready to correct. All right, let's take a look over those. So number 1, you should have got a product of 248. Number 2, you should have got a product of 681. Number 3, 1,955. And number 4, 8,155. So if you were confused on any of those, send me a message on Google Classroom and let me know, and we can set up a time to talk about it. Otherwise, what you've got next is your homework, page 123 through 124, numbers 1 through 8, 10, and 13. And let's take a quick look at that. So for the first few, they give you boxes there. You can use them, and your numbers might not fit in there, and that's okay. They just want you to know that those are the numbers that you should add. You're going to put your partial products in those boxes. And if you don't use them the right way, I don't really care, so long as you're showing your work. If you'd rather draw that out and do the array way, just kind of ignore this and do it on the side piece of paper, and just let me see that when you turn in your work too. Okay, so you have this page. Let's see, we had 1 through 8, 10, Show how you can use place value blocks or draw an array to find the partial product. So what you want to do is draw your picture. You want to do that array way for number 10. And then 13, you're going to use these numbers to fill in the blanks here. So what you're doing is finding your partial products and then your final product. You're going to use each number just one time. So let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, thanks for joining.